Hey guys, I'm back to working on suspension components. I finally had some more parts and stuff come in. What I'm doing is working on replacing a lot of the original rubber style bushings in the front end with polyurethane. That's actually going to help stiffen up the suspension quite a bit, get rid of a lot of the flex that the rubber caused. So I'm going to flip you around here and kind of give you an idea of what I'm doing. The original bushings that came in these lower control arms, of course these are new lower control arms. I just replaced the originals with new ones. And of course you already saw where I had boxed the bottoms of them in so that they eliminated a lot of the flex. Well, the original rubber bushings, although new, that came in this were really soft. I'm not sure if you can see how much that deflects. So several suppliers are now stocking replacements which are polyurethane. Of course it is a press-in operation, which is where I'm at now. I'm actually outside here on my 20-ton shop press. You just have to get all of the measurements and stuff, and a lot of times it lists by model year of the vehicle that you've got for your original suspension to upgrade to these new polyurethane bushings. Some people like them, some people don't. Some people say that they're too harsh of a ride. I wanted to stiffen up the front suspension on this Mustang because the thing really wallowed like a pig going through the curves. Didn't handle very well at all, and a lot of that was due in fact to the age and wear on the original suspension. Some of it was due in part to the way it was designed, and yet again rubber bushings. So I'm going to press these in here. It does say lubricate them, which there is some stuff that comes in the package with it, and a little tube to lubricate it with. But I found years ago doing suspension work on some of my other vehicles, this stuff works really well. It's got a high amount of Teflon in it. It's actually made for like swimming pools, for O-rings and things of that nature. I just happened to chance on it in a box of stuff that I had, and it works really well. It eliminates squeak, plus it actually helps prevent rust. So I highly recommend it. I'm not sure who makes it, but I've had this tube for years and done, I couldn't tell you how many suspensions with it, and I've still got a little bit left, hopefully enough to do this project. So with that, I'm going to turn you off for a few minutes, and I'm going to get these bushings pressed in, and then at that point I'll go over with you what I did and what we're doing on the suspension next. Hey guys, well, after pressing this almost all the way into the lower control arm and it wouldn't go any further, that's when I noticed, if you'll look earlier in the video, this actually had a slight stair step. Why, I'm not sure. I ordered the correct ones for this car based on all the measurements and the dimensions that it listed. But once it reached the area of that lighter gray color that you're seeing, it wouldn't press down in there any further. It's like it got too large. So, needless to say, about 10 minutes of engineering in the the bench grinder. I've got that worked down now, so I'm going to go ahead and press these back in, and when I get them done, I'll be back with you shortly. Okay guys, I'm back. I've got, I think, everything for the suspension pretty well fabricated that I wanted to change. The stuff that I bought that was already pre-manufactured, like the springs, the new control arm pivots, and so forth, those things come with probably the most minimal coat of paint to keep them from rusting until they can get them through the mail to you that I've ever seen. I actually took and wire wheeled all of that off and used several coats of Rust-Oleum. A lot of the parts came with like a real light CAD plating on them. From experiences in the past, I've had a lot of the front sway bar end links and stuff break off, because what happens, these bolts go through all these washers and the rubber grommets, and then at one end of it they've got a sleeve as a spacer. Water gets down in there because those things aren't painted from the factory. This is on new cars as well as on aftermarket parts. Water stands in there and rusts those things out, and what ends up happening is the end of the bolt rots off, either at the head or at the nut, whichever one is closest to that spacer. So I took the time to go ahead and lay all this stuff out, cleaned it all real well with some lacquer thinner, and then sprayed some of them even 3 coats of Rust-Oleum on to make sure the stuff is still really wet. so I'm having to wait for it to dry before I can do an actual mock-up. I went ahead and bolted the shock perches on the lower control arm. Sorry guys, I'm kind of out of it today. And made sure that they all bolted in real good and tight, and then I put another coat of gloss paint even on the bolt and the nuts where they tighten down, just to make sure that there's no water gets up underneath any of this stuff. Don't really want to take any of this apart again once I start driving the car. Here's some of the brackets that I made for the adjustable strut rods that I've fabricated. That's what's actually going to hold it with these spacers right here. I'll show you all of it mocked up once this stuff dries here in a day or so. Here's a little bit of a view of the actual strut rods I fabricated. Basically took the existing strut rods, cut them off, had a friend of mine machine them down on the lathe and then turn them to match the 5/8 threads on these swedge shafts, which I think they come from Speedway. Got some hind joints for the other end, and this actually replaces those rubber hard bushings that actually went in the front mounts, which bound up the front suspension really bad. As you can see, with this bolted in there, the lower control arm isn't going to have any binding at all. It's not supposed to up and down. The only thing this is really for is to control the forward and aft movement of that lower control arm, which it really shouldn't have any. They use it as an adjustment to set the camber and caster and the toe in on the front wheels, but there's not really supposed to be any movement once it's adjusted except for up and down. So by putting those on there, that eliminates a lot of the unneeded movement, but it frees up the movement it does have. Here's the new front 1-inch sway bar I got. Again, it came with just like a real CAD plating on it that were probably rusted inside of a couple of years. And once you get this thing on here, it bolts up to the lower control arms at each end, and then it's actually got a set of bushings which mount right here on either frame rail. So once you've got this thing in place and the engine in the car and everything, it'd be real difficult to go back and try and repaint this thing. Sorry I hadn't made any videos the last few days. I've been helping friends out with projects of theirs at their house. I had a friend that his water heater went out and I had to go replace it for him. Another friend's actually working on a greenhouse. Wanted me to come around and figure out a wiring diagram for it. So got all that set up. Again, we're just trying to help him get caught up with all his stuff, so I haven't been on here very much. I'd like to touch on a topic for a few minutes. I do think is all you guys as my friends. And some of the things that have gone down the past few days, particularly VW Darrin and that Mustang. I know we're trying to move on from this, but I just wanted to give you one little short comment and I won't touch on it anymore. Folks like that really upset me because I've dealt with a lot of people over the years in the Mustang hobby, Mustang enthusiasts and so forth, and I don't think out of the hundreds of people that I've talked to at car shows, Mustang vendors, any of those people that I've run into a situation like you're going through right now, in some ways it almost makes me sad to say that I'm a Mustanger because of the way that you were treated with that. Of course, I understand how people are about their money with the economy being tight and everything, but you did quality work on that car. It looked really good, and I think that they got more than their money's worth and then some. So they should be very happy with the job that you gave them. You should walk around with your head held proud because you did them far and above what they paid you for. So with that, we'll move on, and hopefully everything will continue to improve in the future. Tom's World, that really sucks about that Metro. I've had a few cars in the past that I've done a lot of the same things that you're talking about, only to find the structure of part of the car be messed up, or worse yet, the engine or something be blown up after you've done body work, or you get it running and get it painted and then something else crap out on it. Unfortunately, that's what we get into with dealing with these old cars, so just hang in there, it will get better. I've been watching a lot of HPR's videos, got caught up on those the other day. Super guy. He's probably one of the people that I really look up to as far as the sheet metal fabrication part of this. Someday I'd like to be as good at doing this as he is. I doubt it, but I understand it takes a lot of practice. As much practice as he gets, there's no way I'll ever catch up. Matt, Slow SRT, he's probably one of the best body workers that I've seen as far as getting that stuff straight like a piece of glass. Looking forward to seeing more videos from him. The Shoe Man, Tommy, every time I see one of your videos, it really lifts my spirits as far as seeing all the stuff that you have taken care of. Your house turned out great. Your garage is looking good. I'm glad you put that sticker up. I'm glad you enjoyed that. And I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of videos from you, particularly on wiring that bed up, because you're about the same spot. Actually, you're a little ahead of me on that because it is on its wheels than I am with this Mustang. I'm sure there's a lot of other guys that I'm not thinking of at the moment. It's kind of weird. I get all this stuff in my head and I want to make a video and talk to you guys about it. And then when I sit here, all this stuff runs through my brain so fast I can't keep track of it and I forget stuff. But again, I wanted to reassure Darrin it does get better. Just because you're a giving person and you're really trying to do the right thing and take care of people, you're going to run up on the bad people, and that just happens. The whole thing is, don't let that get you down. Don't let that change you from being the nice guy that you are. They say nice guys finish last. Well, I think that's only while we're down here, if you know what I'm saying. We all have to answer for our actions someday, and I'm sure that people that aren't doing the right thing now are going to be very sorry later. And with that being said, I'm going to cut you guys off, and I'm going to go back to working on this car for a little while. And as I get some of the suspension components and stuff put together, I'll bring you guys back. I'll talk to you later.